I know everyone is struggling, but what have you guys done differently? You're trying to pinpoint that out and share it with the future students so they come prepared.
I think there's a lot of certifications that you can do online or courses. Doing them will definitely guarantee you a job, regardless of what background you come from.
How should one go about understanding this in depth?
Empathy. A lot of people do not even understand what empathy is. Indian education system is so strong. If you see each one of us who's sitting in this forum and talking about our experiences, we all come from Indian education system actually. And I think our basis and whatever we are doing right now and the confidence which we all have, it acts from there. It is less competitive, to be honest. Though if there is a recession happening, might be your chances of being redundant will be very low as compared to the Amazon or Google. So probably if you're thinking to go for Google and Amazon, you might consider other things as well.
If you are planning to study in the UK, watch the video until the end and subscribe to the channel.
What I want to understand is, and I think that's very interesting and very different. What would you look for in another lecturer that you will hire?
Let's go one skill at a time.
Right.
You do one, I do one.
Right? Are you looking for any additional certifications that somebody might have done? What are those that you would recommend?
I'll start with the certifications just so that we can get it out of the way. I think there's a lot of certifications that you can do online or courses. I've heard of QTLS, or you've got teaching and learning certifications for further and higher education. I think doing them will definitely guarantee you a job, regardless of what background you come from. Because right now I'm working with a lot of other lecturers who come from retail background or hospitality background, but because they have a teaching qualification, they've managed to secure the job.
And these qualifications are paid or they are free?
Most of them are paid because these are qualification accredited by the government, I think. Or
And
like,
how much, just take an example of one certification and walk us through how do you get that?
I would say the cost wise, it could be anywhere between 500 to 1,500 pounds. So it can be a bit pricey. Some of the certifications are at your own pace. So just like Coursera or Forage. This would be a 6-month long certification, and you will also be required to get observed by a peer to complete the certification. There are also different certifications in India that I think you don't need to be observed and you can do them remotely, and they're probably cheaper as well. But it really depends on what kind of lecturer or professor you're trying to become. Because if you've done education qualification in undergrad and postgrad before, then you probably wouldn't need these
But
qualifications.
how does one understand and figure out what certifications to do? How should one go about understanding this in depth?
I would say a lot of research. So when I decided to do the qualification, I didn't really have any guidance. So I had to do a lot of research and understand what qualifications are available, which ones are accredited by the government, which one would be valid for the colleges or field that I'm trying to work in. It depends, because in UK they have loads of qualifications and courses.
Which qualifications did you do
QTLS for
QTLS?
learning and teaching for further education.
For further education?
Yes. You've got PGCE as well, but PGCE is more like university, so it'll be for 2 years. QTLS is like a fast-tracked way to get there.
And how much time did it take you?
6 to 7 months.
And how much did it cost?
£1,500, but my company gave me a discount, so I had to pay nothing.
Okay, so your company covered the cost
Yeah.
of training for you.
Yes.
Brilliant. And how about you, Tanishka? What do you say? Suggest on the certifications part.
Okay, so as Vatsalya was talking about, so when we talk about the UK certification and when you have to get into the UK teaching market, so I was kind of lucky to, I've had my MBA in business analytics and then my bachelor's and my field experience that all counted towards what I'm doing right now. Okay. So after teaching here for about 1.5 years or 2 years or something like that, there's a certification called as FHEA, Fellowship in Higher Education Academy. So they qualify you that you are skilled enough to teach in a higher education over here as well. So you can get that certificate. What Vatsalya was telling about, the companies do sponsor about. So if you're working for a college or a university, a lot of universities and colleges are looking for certifications like FHE or QTLS, and sometimes they do help you to achieve them. And it's kind of a sponsorship where you get through it. Okay. Now another certification which I was talking about, like what Vatsalya mentioned, is PGCE. okay, which is postgraduate teaching experience, or if you want to get into education management, so they have a specific domain where you can get into the education management. Now there are different universities who does that. The the fees varies from what you just mentioned, what Salya mentioned about, from £1,500 to even £3,000. So depending on what quality of certification you need at that moment. This is all about certification. But if you are based in India, I would say you should also see how much teaching you can do back in India, okay, because it adds value to what you can do over here as well.
Is teaching like tuition, is that does that count, or you have to be teaching for like an institution?
I would say teaching with a well-known institution would obviously add more value than saying that I tutored some students. Definitely with a known institution
Known
would
institution.
would definitely add more value.
And full time?
It depends. If you're a working, if you're a student, then you can do it part time. But if you're a working professional, then full time is still fine. Because I think they value part time a lot in the UK.
Yeah. Right.
Even when you're a student, or even when you're working, you can have side hustles, or you can be tutoring. So all of that, adds value.
So I think what I'm adding to that as well. So if you're based in India and if you're in your bachelor's degree, so what probably you can do is do some teaching assistant roles. Okay, there are a lot of universities back in India. Actually, they offer teaching assistant role. I was a bit lucky enough. I got a small opportunity to be a teaching assistant back in Amity as well. So that is kind of a very good thing to do as well, because it adds value, and then you can continue doing and finding your way through. And coming back to the skills which you were talking about, Piyush, I think teaching is a very broad skill, to be honest. Okay, it starts from a very top, your subject knowledge and subject expertise. Okay, you might not have all the knowledge, okay, at that point, but you should have the basics clear. Okay, and I think our Indian education system is so strong in putting in us the basics which we actually require to thrive. And if you see each one of us who's sitting in this forum and talking about our experiences, we all come from Indian education system actually. And I think our basis and whatever we are doing right now, and the confidence which we all have, it adds from there. It just builds from there. So our foundation is very important. So do not take anything lightly in your life, okay? Specifically when it comes to education, okay? You can make your life very as easy as possible if you're going for the very basics of it. So back to the teaching qualification and teaching skills. Empathy. A lot of people do not even understand what empathy is. Okay, there's a huge difference between a sympathy and empathy. Okay, as a lecturer, I have to be empathetic because I have to deal in one class 35 different mindsets. How can I deal with the 35 different mindsets if I am rigid? That is not
How do you
acceptable.
prove that you are empathetic? How do you show that on your CV?
Yeah, okay. So proving this, like when we talk about the CV, there could be any experience or any supposedly client handling, okay? And we do a lot of client handling if you talk about the technicalities of sales or marketing or any domain. Okay? How well did you make that client journey and went through into their shoes and make that as a success? So that actually acts as empathy. I don't understand why people don't use that as a skill more rigidly as possible, because I think most of the UK job market and most of the international job market, one of the core elements is they are looking for empathetic people. If you cannot be empathetic in today's world, I don't think so you're going for a very long way, to be honest. Another thing is problem solving, critical understanding. And there are plenty of skills, but just all starts from core expertise in the subject, and then the empathy is a big thing. Because if you go back to your school teachers as well, they were empathetic. That is why you remember those school teachers who were like, oh, she was the best school teacher I ever had. Why? Because anybody remember that you remember that particular person because they were there for you. They were empathetic. They stood with you. That is how the teaching, you become a best teacher or best anything. Okay, so I think that is what we have. I'm not saying I'm a best person at the empathy zone right now. I'm still building on it. And teaching is an experience where you keep transferring learning skills from our students. Like our students, if you remember, they teach us so many things that from the very beginning, from the very start of the point, from recruitment to the teaching where we come for. I think we're learning so many things still. Like you should always be open to learning as well. So yeah, that's it. This is a very passionate field, education. We all are sitting in education sector. It is less competitive, to be honest. If there is a recession happening, might be your chances of being redundant will be very low as compared to the Amazon or Google. So probably if you're thinking to go for Google and Amazon, you might consider other things as well.
No, that's Tanishq selling his career to everybody. But Vatsalya, one more question for you. When you are there in your classroom, how do you see the students perceiving you? One, a female lecturer, two, a lecturer of color, and a young lecturer. So, how do you feel in the classroom?
Yeah, I think I hit the jackpot when it comes to hurdles because I tick all the marks. When I first started off, it was extremely intimidating. And I was obviously very nervous. But as days went by, I realized that at the end of the day, they're human beings as well. And it's just a point of perspective, or um, it's just a point of what kind of relationship you build with them and how you level with them to try and get them to understand what's important and what's not important. And once you've built that mutual trust, mutual respect, you have a really good relationship, teacher student relationship. I think 2 months, a lot of my students started opening up to me about their personal problems, and I think this is where empathy plays into the picture. If you're not empathetic, you won't be able to build that relationship with students. Not just students, I think anyone in general.
Yes.
But you especially need it in the education field, because unless you have empathy, you can't get respect, you can't get their attention, you can't get anything from your students.
Now
really.
you feel comfortable with your class?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I feel more comfortable, and
Because I think that would be one thing which everyone would have in their mind. It's same to what I had when I started this YouTube channel. That how would people perceive me, and I'm now out there in the open. Same with as a faculty, you are standing in front and like
yeah.
50 kids looking at
Yeah.
you.
It's a very vulnerable state of mind, and also physically speaking as well. You're in a very vulnerable state because anybody can throw any verbal nonsense at you, and you
Yes.
need to be very quick. You need to think quick on your feet on how to tackle this, or how to set a tone or set boundaries in your classroom.
Did anything happen?
I've had so many experiences. So a student of mine actually had not jury duty. He had trial. So this is an 18-year-old student. So he got into trouble with the law and he had a trial. So he came into my lesson late one day. I asked him, "Why are you late?" He looks dead in my eyes. He goes, "I woke up late." He put me on the spot. I didn't know what to say to him, but I went back home. I tried to understand what reply could I have possibly given him. And I think in the future, if someone says that I woke up late, I would be like, can I use that excuse to my manager? So I would confront my student asking this. If I can't use this excuse to my manager, you can't use this excuse to me. So setting boundaries or trying to understand how they work. But again, I think I'm going to circle back to empathy, because I didn't know that he had a trial that morning. So I could have gotten very angry. I could have embarrassed him in front of everybody. I could have lost my control, and I could have just gone apeshit. Sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to do that, but yeah.
Candid and unfiltered.
I could have gone completely ballistic and took him out to principal,
Yeah.
dean, whatever. I just asked him to step out of the classroom until he figures out a good excuse to come back into my class. And I think that's where empathy and learning how to diffuse tension is a really important skill, not just in teaching, but I think in life, because you're going to meet so many different kinds of people. You're not going to know how to handle them because there's so many different types of people. So learning how to keep your cool is very, very important, I would say.
So
Yeah.
we're going to come back to you, Preeti. Have you had any uncomfortable scenarios where you had to figure out how to react?
Oh my god, I'm just selecting which one
Which
to
one?
say. So, I mean, not just in the career outside, you will be having many uncomfortable situations throughout your journey here. Like as a student, you might be doing part-time job where you'll be dealing with customers which are not your expertise. You need to do a step up or a step down most of the times.
Yeah.
And then because when in your job, when you have the upper hand, it's easy to solve problems.
Right.
But when the others have your upper hand,
And customer is always right.
exactly.
Yeah.
And we brought up in a very good state, you would not be going down because we are not used to do part-time jobs and all of that back
Right.
in India. So number one, I would say is patience. So this country taught me a lot about patience. So I'm really thankful to that because most of the people here regarding the opportunities and all of that, they don't realize that patience is the number one skill. So circling back to my career advisor, so when I go there for recruiting students need to showcase that they are at their best. So basically what happens with me is that these people get to deal all the bullshit. They showcase that they are the best. So you need to figure out, are they really speaking out the truth or not? You ask them, what do you want to become? I want to become a manager. But do they have the skill set? That's what my job comes in. I need to
Right.
assess them based on their skill set. So some people, for example, there have been in interviews where students are not very responsible. For example, you see them sitting in attending interviews in a park or somewhere in a very noisy place. So that is how you know their intent. And
Right.
you cannot really tell them that they are not, even with all the skills, I think their behavior during the interview speaks a lot.
Pixel off.
For example, you have a interview for a college. How would you be dressed? How would you be ready? How would you be on time? So all of that. There were many instances like that. I think me and Radhika get to. If something goes wrong, Radhika would call me or I would call Radhika like that. So there are many instances that happen, but I think Indians are always, we are born with problem solving skills. So I don't get to deal much of like bigger problems, but the minor ones.
But
Yeah.
also coming to the second aspect, that in your role as a career counselor, are there any certifications that you believe would help to land a job like yours?
So basically, I'm a budding career advisor. I've just started this journey right now. So speaking about specifications, I've done an MBA, which is already a level 7, and also all my experiences have aligned to that. So I worked in student support, I worked in the admissions, I worked in the recruitment, and I say my recruit for BNU, which is Birmingham Newman College. So all of that experience has added to me more than the certification, I would say.
Coming to you, Radhika, have you had any uncomfortable situations with the students that you have to
You can be
deal with?
honest.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had a lot of them, but one I'll tell about this. For example, I had an interview. There was a lady. She was really, really good. Her English and everything, but she didn't have any course knowledge, to be honest. And I was like, "Why do you want to do this course? Do you know any subjects or any modules?" She was trying. She had communication skills. She was trying her way best, and then I was like, I have to fail you because this is what my job is. And after that, she was like, "Oh, please, I'm begging you." She started begging. Then I was like, "This is recorded. You cannot." So at that time, I was like, "What can I do for you?"
Ethics comes
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So this was the most uncomfortable situation that I had.
No, I think that is your integrity has to be top notch, so as to make sure that you justify the role that you have. So I think that is great, guys. So we have professors, we have career counselors, we have admissions team. So we have the entire education industry here with us, and
If you found this useful, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel.
So, firstly, the day you come to the UK, you should be prepared for the worst. And you have to be very clear in your mind that why you're coming, that why should always be there. So, like when I came here, I was prepared for the worst, that if sadko pe bhi sona pade, then I'll sleep on the roads. I have to settle down here.